In this video, I will show you how to solve two word problems involving conic sections. Alright, so the statuary hall in the United States Capitol is elliptical. That's key. It measures 64 feet wide and 136 feet long. If a person is standing at one focus, her whisper can be heard by a person standing at the other focus. How far apart are the two people? Round to 3 decimal places if necessary. So the first thing you have to do is draw a picture of the situation. Now they're talking about whisper points and statuary hall. Don't get distracted by any of those words. We're talking about a place that is elliptical. So draw an ellipse. Okay, got a little janky there at the end. Alright, here's my ellipse. This ellipse is 64 feet wide and 136 feet long. Okay, so 136 feet long, so that would be like this. Alright, so we're saying that this is 136 feet. At the same time, it is 64 feet wide. Okay, so that means if we go across like this, this is 64 feet. Okay, now obviously somewhere these lines meet at the center. So I'm going to go ahead and split these large numbers up into their two halves. So see this 136 feet? Alright, let me backtrack a little bit. So if this entire distance from here to here is 136 feet, then what is the distance from the center to a vertex? Alright, because you know this is a vertex and this is a vertex. It should be half of this. Half of 136 is 68. So that means this side over here is 68 feet and this side over here is also 68 feet. Okay, so similarly, the width is 64. Half of 64 is 32. So that means that this is 32. Okay, this half up here, and this is 32 down here for a total width of 64. Now, if a person is standing at one focus, her whisper can be heard by a person standing at the other focus. Okay, so we're talking about two people standing at the foci. So let's say this is a focus and this is a focus. Okay, the whisper points are the foci. So how far apart are the people if they are standing at the foci? So basically we're being asked how far apart are the foci. Well, look guys, we are given the A value and the B value, and we're basically being asked for the C value. Because the 68 feet, that's the distance from the center to a vertex. Guys, that is the A value. So we know that the A value is 68. Okay, the distance from the center to a covertex, okay, I mean this would be a covertex, that's the B value. So we're being told that the B value is 32. Now, these numbers are going to get a little bit big, so don't be scared. But as we often do when we're dealing with the equation of an ellipse, we are going to actually need a squared and b squared. So if a is 68, the question is, what is a squared? So a squared is 4,624. If b is 32, what's b squared? 1,024. So what we really need to find is the c value. which is the distance from the center to a focus. We need to find that C value. Of course, even when we find it, that won't be the final answer because we need the total distance between the two foci. So we'll have to double this. But if we have the A value and the B value, we can find the C value by using the formula C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. Okay, so C squared is going to equal A squared, which is 4,624, minus B squared, which is 1,024. Alright, so that turns out to be 3,600. If we take the square root of both sides, we get that C is equal to 60. Alright, so that tells us that this C value is 60, which means that this distance is also 60, because that's also the C value. So that means that the distance between the two foci is 60 plus 60. So this total distance between the foci is 120 feet. And that is the answer to problem number 12. Alright, let's do one more word problem. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated. The outer door of an airplane hangar is in the shape of a parabola. The door is 140 inches across at the bottom of the door and 110 inches high. Find an equation describing the door's shape. If you are 72 inches tall, how far must you stand from the edge of the door to keep from hitting your head? Round to 3 decimal places if necessary. So a lot of students were asking me, what is an airplane hangar? Well, first of all, you don't need to know what that word means in order to do the problem. An airplane hangar is just what they call the building where you store an airplane. But that doesn't matter, because what matters is there's a door and it's in the shape of a parabola. That's all that matters. So that is your next task, is to picture a door in the shape of a parabola. So you know parabola either goes like this, or it goes like this, or it goes like this, or it goes like this. Only one of these 4 shapes could reasonably be the shape of a door. Okay, like, you know, a normal door is like this, right? Like maybe here's the handle of the door. All right, this is what a normal door looks like. But somehow, here I'll kind of close this off like this. Okay, instead of your normal rectangular door, we have a door that's in the shape of a parabola. Which one of these 4 shapes could serve the purpose of a door? It could only be this one. This is the only shape that you could make a door out of. Okay, I could put a little door knob right here, open it right up, people can walk right in. Any of these other shapes, if I try to make a door out of this, people would be tripping over this edge right here. That wouldn't make sense for a door. Also, they told you that the door is 140 inches across at the bottom. That sort of tells you that it has to be flat at the bottom. Okay, if it's in the shape of a parabola, if you were thinking maybe it's this shape, or maybe it's like this shape, at the bottom it comes to a single point. So there's no way that this could be 140 inches across. It has to be flat at the bottom in order to be 140 inches across. So only this shape makes sense for a door in the shape of a parabola. Okay, alright, so now I'm just going to draw it a little bit bigger. Okay, so here is my X and Y axis. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I'll draw the door first. So here's the door, nice and big. Alright, this is the bottom of the door. Okay, and this is my parabolic shaped door. Boom. Okay, so this is just a doorway. It's an opening. Alright, this is darkness that I'm drawing. Just imagine walking inside of this thing. All right. Now, the question is, where do I put my x and y axis? Normally, I try to put the origin at the vertex. Okay, so normally I would do something like this because it just makes the equation nice and simple. The only problem with that is we're talking about a person that is 72 inches tall, and they're trying to walk through this door, and maybe they're going to hit their head. So imagine a person trying to walk in here. Okay, so like say there's a person, and here they are. Here's my person. Okay, they're 72 inches tall. If my x-axis is way up here, it's going to be very difficult for me to talk about the height of this person being 72 inches. Okay, like how is that going to work in my equation? Because they're standing on the ground is down here, and my x-axis is way up there. So what am I going to do with that? I could still solve the problem this way, but it would be a little bit harder to do. So I'm not going to do it that way. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and put the x-axis on the ground. Okay, I'm going to put the x-axis right here. That way, the height of the person is just a y value now, and that it's no big deal anymore. Okay, so now I have my x and my y-axis. Let's get some values on here. So my vertex is up here. The height of this door is 110 inches high. So that means this point is now the point 0, 110. All right, it's 110 inches high. What else do we know? The door is 140 inches across at the bottom. So this width is 140 inches. Okay, but again, what I need are the coordinates of a few points. So if this is 140 inches across, can you see that this will be 70 inches on each side? All right, 70 inches to the left, 70 inches to the right. That means the coordinates of this point right here will be 70, 0. And this point over here will be negative 70, 0. I probably won't need all three of these points, but they're there if I ever were to need them. Okay, so when you're solving most of these word problems, there are two steps. Step one is to set up an equation. All right, so step one, find equation. And then once I find the equation, step two will be to use the equation to answer the question. Okay, so first we have to find the equation of this parabola, and then we'll use the equation to find out how far you have to stand from the edge of the door to keep from hitting your head. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this because right now we're on step one. Find the equation. We need to find the equation of this parabola. So when you have a vertical parabola, we know that the model for a vertical parabola like this is x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k not squared. This is the model that we use. When it's vertical, the x part is squared. If we have a parabola that's sideways, that's when the y part is squared and the x part is not squared. So this is the model that we're going to use. Now, we know a big part of this equation right now because the h and the k are the coordinates of the vertex. Okay, so this is my h and this is my k right here. So substituting in 0 and 110 for h and k, that's going to give me x squared is equal to 4p times y minus 110. Okay, so I am almost finished finding my equation, except for this p. I need to know what p is so I can plug it in. I need a number here. I can't just ignore the p, and I can't leave the p there. I need to find out what p is. Now the p value is the distance from the vertex to the focus. But guess what? We have no idea what the focus is, so that's not going to help us. So we need a different strategy in order to find p. And the other way that we can find p, since we don't know what the focus is we can use one of the other points on the parabola. We can use one of these ordered pairs, and we can plug them in, those coordinates, and we can find p that way. So I'm going to do that off to the right hand side. Okay, off to the side I am going to find p. And then once I find p, I'll plug it back in, and then I will be done with step 1. I will have found my equation. So I'm going to find p using the point 70, 0. So if I substitute 70 and 0 in for x and y, then I have 70 squared is equal to 4p times 0 minus 110. Okay, I didn't put the 0 because it's just 0. So I have this. 70 squared clearly is going to be 4,900. So I have 4,900 is equal to. Now, meanwhile, over here, I need to multiply 4 times negative 110. So that'll be negative 440. So negative 440p. I just multiplied those together. The p is still there. So remember, we're finding p. That's what we're doing right now. We're finding p. So the last thing I need to do in order to find p is I need to divide both sides by negative 440. Okay, so this is going to give me that p value. Let's see. 4,900 divided by negative 440. Alright, I'm getting this decimal now. P is equal to negative 11 point, they said 3 decimal places, so negative 11.136. Alright, this is the p value. I had to find the p value so I could finish making the equation. So I can now take this p value and substitute it in right there. And then I'll be done with my equation. So I'm going to have x squared equals. So now I need to do 4 times this number. So 4 times negative 11.136. That is negative 44.544. Okay, so that's 4p. So then I still have the y minus 110. So look, this is the equation that I was looking for. So this is the end of step 1. So remember, step 1 is to find an equation. So this is the equation of this parabola. Now step 2 is to use the equation to answer the question. So that's what I'm going to do now. Maybe I'll change colors. So now I'm about to do step 2. Step 2. Use equation to answer the question. Okay, so now we're going to do step 2. So using this equation, we have to figure out how far you have to stand from the edge of the door to keep from hitting your head. Okay, so this is you. All right, remember that you are 72 inches tall. So imagine that you are standing right here and you hit your head. Okay, boom. I'm going to make you tall and skinny. All right, just to make it more clear what's happening. So imagine that you're standing right here and you hit your head. Boom. Ouch. Okay, that hurts. We are being asked to find this location right here. We're being asked to find this x value. Well, okay, that's not even exactly right. In the end, we're being asked how far you are from the edge of the door. So this is really what you're being asked. This distance between the place you're standing and the edge of the door. But the first step of answering that, of finding that question mark, is to figure out what's the x value of this point. Okay, now we know the y value though. Okay, I keep feeling like I should change colors. You are 72 inches tall. 72. So that is a y value. So we know that the y value is 72, and we're being asked, hey, what is the x value that goes with that y value? So we can use this equation. We're just going to take our y value of 72, and we're going to plug it in. And then we're going to get the x value, and then we'll be almost done, but there'll still be one more step after that. This was a complicated problem. Okay, so here I go. I'm substituting this y value in so I can get the x value. So this will become, and you know what, I'm just going to use all of this space. Okay, so I'm going to have x squared is equal to negative 4.544. My y value is 72, so that's 72 minus 110. Okay, got to crank this out, just got to grind it out. So I have negative 4.544. What's this? So 72 minus 110, that's negative 38. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply these together. So negative 38 times negative 44.544. Okay, so x squared is 1,692.672. So to find the x value, of course, I need to take the square root of both sides. So now I'm going to do the square root of that number, and I get 41.142. Okay, so I just found this x value, which is right here. So this x value is 41.142. But be careful. Remember, I told you, this x value really represents the distance from the center. That's what an x value is. All right, an x value is how far you are away from the y-axis. But that's not what we're being asked to find. We're being asked to find how far you are away from the edge. Okay, so we need this this distance over here on the right hand side. So we really need to subtract. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to color this purple. So we need to find this purple distance right here. This purple distance is simply going to be the difference between 70 and 41.142. All right, because that's how far apart these are. So we need to do 70 minus 41.142. And that should be the final answer. Okay, so 70 minus 41.142, and I'm getting 28.858 inches. Okay, now that was a complicated problem, but that is what you have to do for problem number 13. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.